to start over knowing what I know now, here's exactly how I'd learn lure fishing, and I'd do it fast. I'm going to break this down into 6 steps that not only have worked for me, but thousands of others who are quickly becoming great anglers. If you follow this and put in the work, you will level up way faster than I ever did. My name is Abs. I'm a lure fishing enthusiast from Sydney, Australia. I have been fishing for almost 30 years now, and over the past few years, I have obsessed over this stuff. So if you want to learn something about lure fishing, make sure you follow along for some tips you must know. When I first started lure fishing, I fell into the same trap that a lot of people usually fall into. It was around 2015 when the Facebook fishing groups were huge. I honestly believed that I could just open the app, see what lures everyone was using, buy the same ones and go out and catch fish. But it didn't work that way. I went in without the right mindset, and it's the same thing as trying to build a house without a blueprint. So before we get into anything else, let me just give you 4 mindset shifts that will accelerate your learning. Number 1 is patience. Tell me if you've ever experienced this. You watch a tutorial, it makes complete sense. You're convinced that you've got it, but then you go out onto the water and do exactly what the video says and you still don't catch a fish. This is completely normal. Watching is not the same as doing. Your brain understands it on the couch, but on the water it needs time, repetition and trial and error. Accept this early and the journey becomes way more enjoyable. Number 2 is curiosity. Instead of blaming yourself or the lure when you don't catch fish, ask why. Was the tide wrong? Was the water too clear or too dirty? Were the fish just shut down? Every single session has something to teach you if you're curious enough to look for it. Number 3 is consistency. One big session a month isn't going to cut it for you. Even short sessions after work or an hour after sunrise will all add up at the end of the day. Fishing with lures is a skill that sharpens with repetition. So the more you do it, the better you become. Number 4 is realistic expectations. Social media has created an illusion that everyone's catching big fish all the time. What you don't see are those countless donuts and those tough sessions. So don't compare yourself to others. Focus on your own progression. Alright, let's move on to those 6 steps that I mentioned at the start of the video. If I had to start again, I wouldn't waste my time juggling 10 different rods. I'd choose one all-round the outfit and I'd fish it like it felt like an extension of my arm. For estuary lure fishing, the best starting point is a 2 to 4 kg rod paired with a 2500 reel. I'd spool that with a 6 to 8 pound braid and a matching leader. This covers around 90% of your brim, whiting and flathead fishing. This setup is light enough to feel every single tick of the lure, but still has enough grunt to handle a bigger flathead when they show up. If you want some recommendations for rods, reels and all the rest of that to get you started, I'll leave them down in the description. Alright, let's move on to step number 2. One of the biggest mistakes that I made was thinking that more lures meant more fish. In reality, too much choice leads to second guessing yourself. If I had to start again, I'd focus on 3 lure styles and I'd master them. But the first one that you want to master before moving on to the second and third is the soft plastic. A 2.5 inch grub or a small type minnow style or paddle tail soft plastic on a light jig head. It's deadly on the flathead and the brim. So that's something that you really want to master before moving on to the next one that I'm going to talk about. And the next one is obviously the crankbait. A shallow diving crankbait is great on the flats. You can catch flathead, you can catch brim, and you can catch whiting on them. You can even use them off the edges as well.
Here we go. Still cranking the flats here. We haven't had no bites. Oh yeah, there we go. That's our first fish. First fish on. Just saying, we haven't had any bites. And that's our first fish. The flathead. It's a nice little flathead. Get up. Just back our drag off a bit. No need for us to have a tight drag here, because there is not much rocks that they can get us on except for our feet. Man, these seagulls are really doing my head in. I'll see if we can walk it around somewhere. No, we can beach it here. Decided to wake up. There she is. Check that out. Gorgeous flathead. Where'd the wind come from? Turn your head and try to get you into this little shallow pocket here. I hope it doesn't damage my line. There she is. You're going the wrong way, bud. You're going the wrong way. That's the beauty of a spot like this. You can just beach the fish. Look at that, that's a nice little flathead.
And the last lure is a top water lure. And this is something that is so exciting to watch and see when a fish comes up and hits your lure off the top. My go-to is the Daiwa In-Feet Slippery Dog. It's a great lure, very versatile, and it has 2 stinger hooks at the back that helps you with your hookup rate. But this will catch you brim, this will catch you flathead as well in shallow water, and it'll catch you whiting. But make sure you master the soft plastics before you move on to the crankbaits and the top water lures. So that's it. Learn how to swim each one properly, learn how to use it, when to use it, and you'll outfish the guy with a box of 200 lures. Step number 3, the easiest way to waste time is to fish random spots hoping for the best. If I had to start over, I'd fish areas that make learning a lot easier. I'll give you a few examples. The first spot is a shallow flat, so you can actually see the fish come up and react to your lure, and it also builds confidence. Drop-offs and channel edges, they're great for learning how to work your soft plastics down a ledge. And oyster racks and structure teaches you lure placement and accuracy. Step number 4, lure fishing isn't just about casting and winding, it's about timing. If I had to start over, I'd spend more time learning how the tides, the wind, and the water clarity affect fish behavior. Here's a simple example. Flathead love sitting on the edges of drains as the tide falls. Brim often feed harder on rising water when they can push up onto the flats, and whiting respond best to surface lures on clear, shallow flats with a bit of ripple on the top. Step number 5, if I had my time again, I'd keep a fishing journal from day one. Write down where you fished, what the tide was doing, what lure you used, and what you caught. Patterns appear quicker than you think, and the anglers who learn the fastest are often the ones who record and reflect. Now, before we move on to the last and most important step, let me just say this. If you've watched this far, you're already ahead of most people. 70% of people who watch my videos aren't subscribed. So if you've gotten any sort of value from this video, consider hitting that subscribe button, the like button, and leave a comment down below. YouTube's also introduced a new feature called the hype button. I'm not exactly sure what it does, but click that too. And let's move on to the most important step. This is the shortcut that most people ignore. If you want to accelerate your learning, fish with people who are better than you. I can't even count how many little things I've picked up by just watching experienced anglers. Things they didn't even realize they were doing. The way they work the lure, how they position their kayak or boat in the current, the spots they chose that I would have probably just walked right past or pedaled straight past in my kayak. One good session with a skilled angler can teach you what might take months to figure out on your own. And here's the best part, you don't need to know them personally. Tournaments, local clubs, or even just starting a conversation at the boat ramp can open up doors for you. If you want to know which lures are the best to use in certain spots, then make sure you check out this next video where I'll guide you through the best lures to use. I'll see you all there.